I bought two of the rarest but least desirable M3s ever made, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why in this video. Let's get into it. What is going on, you guys? Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyle Solkar, and we are in, once again, a new place that I want to show you guys. And we have two new cars that have been added to the collection that I've been hiding from you. There's one of them right there, and I'm going to show you the matching one inside. Guys, I know it's been a little bit since we've had any BMW content on this channel. It's been loaded with the 458, the Ferrari content, but I want to show you guys some of the other BMW stuff that I've been dabbling in, because don't worry, I'm still a huge fanatic and wannabe collector. And I think this pairing are like the two most hated M3s, but in like the best specifications and like history and mileage possible. And I'm gonna explain exactly what I mean in a second. All right, so you're probably wondering, number one, what is that? Where is this? And I don't know, a lot of stuff you're probably wondering. But this is actually not my car, this is my close friend's, and this is a project we are working on together with the garage, and that's something I wanna show you guys first, because there's been a lot of construction and garage and relocation efforts. All right, so really quick, I want to show you guys how this garage used to look. I'm going to put up the before photos and videos right now. We'll go over some of the stuff we did to make it look like this, kind of on a budget. Now, as you guys can see here, we've got the floors done too, which I'll mention in a second, how we did that and how we transformed everything in here without going super overboard. Now, I have some involvement in this house project. It's potential investment for me, and with obviously getting rid of the office space, it was important for me to figure out some solutions for car storage, specifically stuff I am collecting. So as you guys can see here, we redid everything on the ceiling of this garage. This is a popcorn ceiling, but instead of taking the popcorn ceiling off, we decided to just paint it matte black, and it'll kind of give that more dimensional effect with the lighting there, which I think turned out really, really well. And you guys can see here, we've got this stick lighting that we turned into a square, which I also think turned out pretty nice, especially for the $200 or so it costs for the lights, maybe even less, and they all plug into a normal outlet. I did get the octagonal lights, but they weren't gonna fit in here, and they're very annoying to install, so I'm gonna save those for whatever office we build next, but for now, I think this really did a good job in bringing the lighting back. Now, as you guys can see, the walls, we decided to do a white on the walls, which kind of helps make this place look bigger, and then a gray on the accent wall back here. Going back, I probably would have used a more eggshell or matte paint to kind of hide the patchwork on the walls, but it was done pretty well. But as you guys can see in the before, this was pretty brutal back here, and it had that cork board or whatever you want to call it on it, so we had to take that off and do all of the patchwork. And then of course we did the epoxy flooring as well, and it looks absolutely incredible, especially compared to how it looked previously. Now, as you guys know, I really like restoring cars and making things nicer and projects, and this was kind of a good opportunity for me to do all that. And all of this stuff here honestly cost less than $3,000. Now, a lot of that expense came from the floor, which was about $1,600, and this painting and the patching was about $900, and then the other little odds and ends were, you know, $500 or so with the lighting and the install on the lighting and stuff like that. So right around $3,000, and this whole garage was completely made over. I actually also had this deep clean the garage door because it kind of had like a really musty cigarette odor. It made everything kind of smell in here. So now it does not smell in here, and it is actually fitting for some cars to go inside of it. And speaking of that, let's get into it. As you guys can see, the construction is not done yet, but we've got the switches. But with that being said, let's open this up and show you guys a little bit more. So first and foremost, that Range Rover SVR right here is for sale, and it is my friend Chris's. This is a beautiful spec, gray on orange. I am very tempted to buy it, but as you guys know, I always have way too many cars. But beautiful, beautiful spec. If you're interested in buying it, you can comment down below or email me, link in description for that. Now getting into the collection, the pseudo wannabe collection of the most hated M3s. Now, why I say most hated is because right here we've got my new E93 M3, which I've kind of been keeping a secret from you. I say new, but it's really new to the channel, but now new to me. I've had this car for about a year. It is a 2009 BMW E93 M3 6-speed manual, and I bought it with 29,000 miles and one owner. The best part is it also has red interior. And then right here, we've got the 1998 E36 M3, and I purchased it from the second owner. This car only has 69,000 miles. So we have two identical white matching cars, but the reason they're hated is because this one is a convertible, and then this one is the ugly duckling four-door. And this to me is an interesting concept because a lot of the times in collections, you always want the coupe or like the hardtop with no sunroof or anything like that. But in this particular case, I really wanted to start buying cars that just were really, really proper. Now, I bought cars with 130,000, 150,000 miles plus, multiple owners, and I have nothing against that. But these two cars were like so perfect and so preserved. And I know a lot of the times if you go on E92 or E93, E9X forums, E90, this is the most hated of all of those cars. If you buy a E9X M3, which was from 2008 to 2013, the convertibles are heavier, they don't look as good, people think they're hairdresser's cars and stuff like that. And then behind me, of course, you've got the E36 four-door. Yes, there are cult followings for the four-door. They're not nearly as desirable as the coupe variant just because they're not as pretty looking. And now when you're buying M3s specifically like this, I feel there are four main factors. Number one would be ownership and title history, whether it has a clean title, a salvage title, a rebuilt title, all that good stuff, which obviously neither of these have. And then number two would be the specification, which would include the color, interior, exterior, as well as the transmission. And number three would be maybe the year, whether it's an early model car. In this case, you've got the 2008 to the 2013. 2013 E9X is going to be the most valuable, realistically speaking, because it's the end of production, it has the LCI and all that good stuff. Another super important factor would be overall condition and maintenance history. For example, here you've got the rod bearing issue on the E9X series, and then over there you've got the cooling system issues on the E36 that are just two of the more demons in the closet when you get into them. But the interesting part about these cars is that they both have such low mileage that there's almost nothing to go wrong, especially given the history. So let's quickly take a look at this car. This is a 2009 E93 M3, like I mentioned, in Alpine white, and it's got the competition wheels that are actually OEM, and one of my favorite wheels of all time. It is the hardtop convertible, and it's only the E93 and the F83, which is the car that comes after this, which I used to own, that come in hardtop convertibles. Looking inside this car, you can see it's got the Fox red interior with the 6-speed manual transmission, which is super important, and it just overall fantastic looking car. Also, a very friendly reminder to buy your car mount if you have any interest in having the best mount on the planet. Works fantastic, fits amazing, and if you use code Kyle, you can get a special discount at checkout. This car also has a Meister shaft exhaust, which we pulled off the previous E92 I had, and a Corsa rear section. Now this car, like I said, I have owned it for about a year or so. It's got nice low gas light, but it's only got 33,857 miles on it, which a lot of those are from me in the last year. But this car is impeccably clean on the inside and sounds absolutely fantastic on the outside. Taking a look under the hood real quick, you guys can see that it's got this beautiful V8 with the carbon fiber Dynon intake. So taking a closer look at the E36 M3, the coolest part about this car is the name for it, and that is the M3 with 4 doors and 5 speeds, and technically a 6-cylinder engine, which pretty cool. The M3 4, 5, 6, if you want to call it that, outfitted in Alpine white with dove gray interior. Now the sedans never came with the Vader seats, which are a little bit cooler looking, but these still have the M stripes, and the interior on this car is in very, very good condition, as you guys can see. Now, of course, aside from this car only having 2 owners, and the last owner had it for like 15 years, something that stuck out to me about it was the ridiculously low mileage. As you guys can see here, this car has 69,358 miles. And there are a few lights on the dash right here. You've got the airbag light and the ASC light that will come on, and the fuel gauge does not work. But overall, this car runs and drives incredibly well, and it shifts smooth, and it feels super healthy. So looking under here, we've got the 3.2 liter S52 motor. This is a 1998, so they had the S50 in 1995, and that was an OBD1 car. This is an OBD2 car, so everything from 96, 97, 98, 99 are all the 3.2 liter S52, which is an absolutely bulletproof motor that it makes around, I think, 240 horsepower. We've got the aftermarket intake as well, but that is the extent of the modifications on this car, besides the active auto work exhaust, which I'll show you guys in the back. So as you can see, these cars look very, very different. They're 11 years apart, so just over a decade difference between these two cars. Now I know one's a convertible and one's a sedan, but most of the key attributes aside from the roofs and doors of them are the same throughout all of the generations. Now the E36 was made from 1995 until 1999. Then the E46 came along, which you guys know is one of my favorite cars, which we've had a ton on the channel. And then from 2008 to 2013, you've got the E90, which would be the later version of this car with 4 doors. Then you've got the E92, which is the coupe, and you guys have seen a multitude of those on the channel. And then you have the E93, which is the hardtop convertible variant. This car is outfitted with a 3.2 liter inline 6 motor that makes around 240 horsepower. That is named the S52. And this car is outfitted with a 4 liter V8 named the S65 that makes about 420 horsepower. With the Dyna tune and exhaust this car has, it makes a little bit more, but it sounds absolutely incredible. Now, as you guys know on this channel, I love all of the M3s, for better or for worse. And I'm always looking for not only deals, but cars that I can curate that are just cool, different, and interesting. And you guys have seen on the channel, I bought everything from cars that were perfect and beautiful and had amazing color combinations, and then cars that have brutal color combinations and have multiple owners and a ton of mileage. But what was interesting about these two cars is that they were both white, which I think is kind of like the best color for the M3 in general. And if I ever owned all of them, which is actually a dream of mine, I would want them all in white. So this was my kind of stab at doing that, at least to begin with. And I know a lot of collectors would be like, oh, you're dumb, because if you're gonna collect them, you might as well get the coupe variants of all of them. And I agree, I like those, but beggars can't be choosers, and these cars were both crazy cool in their own special way. The odds of finding a 1998 BMW M3 with 69,000 miles, 2 owners, and a clean title with no accidents is very, very difficult. And this car being in 2009 with only 1 owner when I purchased it and 29,000 miles is also incredibly difficult. Now, the awesome part about these two cars is that they're both manual, which makes them incredibly special. Now let's take a look at some of the different aesthetic changes between these two cars. As you guys can see, the front fascias are completely different, and you've got quite a bit of a difference when it comes to the wheels. Right here, you've got a 17-inch wheel, and right here, you've got a 19-inch OEM competition wheel. These are called the DS2s, and these are called the M3’s. Right here, you've got one of these little fake intake vents for the M3, which is the badging. And then here you've just got a little turn signal with the M3 badging right there. The E36 is actually like the least badged and least aggressive looking M car of all time. It's funny because now you've got M240s with a bunch of M badges everywhere, and this is actually an M3, but it has absolutely no M badges anywhere besides the back and the side right there. Taking a look at the side profile, you can see obviously it's a hardtop convertible, so you don't get that beautiful coupe or sedan shape, but it's a really aggressive look. You've got different side skirts and all the different body paneling. But on the E36, a lot of these body panels are actually shared with the non-M versions of the car. Taking a look at the back of both of these cars, you can obviously see there's a huge difference as well. The E36 was the last M3 to come with a dual exhaust. The E46 and the E9X series, all after that, came with a quad exhaust, which kind of signified the M3. This is obviously the second generation after the E30, so I feel like BMW is still kind of figuring out what they wanted to do with this car, and this they were a little bit further along with. But it's just interesting to show you, these are so different, so hated on, but honestly so awesome in their own special way. You see, this car, you get the top-down experience with the roaring V8 and a 6-speed manual. There's not that many cars that can do that, that are German and amazing and handle quite like the M3. And then this car right here, you've got one of BMW's retro OG vehicles that was a super saloon before they really existed. You got the E39 M5, and this was kind of like its little brother that came out right before and inspired that kind of car that not only was fun, handled really, really well, had really good weight distribution, had a limited slip differential, and a manual transmission, but it also had the 4 doors in the back, kind of embodying what the M3 was all about. But yeah, you guys, I really just wanted to make a quick little update video on these two cars. The E36 might be leaving soon just because you guys can see the storage situations are a little bit fluctuating, but a new warehouse or garage is in the mix. The Ferrari, like I showed you guys in the last video, is downtown in my buddy's $1 million garage, which is very reassuring because I know the car is safe and in good company and all that good stuff. But with that being said, guys, I want to thank you so very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy this little quick update, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.